Welcome to What is Communication? I am the host of The Extraordinary Marriage, Connie Durham, and I welcome you today. So often you hear those words, communication, and you think, what does that exactly mean? Sometimes people think about the different ways people communicate through the internet and on social media. But I'm talking about people to people communication because no matter how much social media, texting, and all of that kind of thing there is, communication between people is what counts. What I hear from you, what you hear from me. So let me get us started. I'm going to give you four ways that we don't even realize we're communicating. And when it comes to marriage, sometimes those are the things that are getting us in trouble. And then I'm going to show you three ways to raise the communication with your spouse today. So I want you to start out by thinking of this. Think about that look your parents gave you. That look they gave you, and you knew exactly what they were thinking. You're either in trouble or they're smiling and they were happy with you. They were proud of you, but you knew exactly what they were thinking by the look. And how about that teacher at school when the whole class is going wild and they're becoming so frustrated? Do you see that look on their face when at that moment they're, like, over it and, the whole class is in trouble? Or how about that first time you looked at your spouse and you saw them smile back at you? Well, communication can be divine, it's dependable, it's delightful, it's dynamic, or it can be destructive, disrespectful, and it can lead to the big D word, divorce. So, which one describes communication in your marriage? A, open, thoughtful, kind, conversational, supporting, or B, restrained, inhibited, harsh, critical, collapsing. Lack of communication can make you feel isolated and unimportant and absolutely detached. These kind of things cause depression and anger. And yes, even someone seeking love somewhere else. So, how important is communication? I want you to think about a tree. For me, while I'm recording this, it's springtime and we're going from the framework and the grayness of winter and the trees to each and every tree putting forth, little green leaves and there's flowers on the trees. It's beautiful. A tree is either growing or it's dying. And our marriages are really the same way. We might think that they just stay status quo, and they might for a while. But, we always need to be paying attention to how, we are relating to our spouse. How are we communicating? Are we becoming closer? Or is our marriage growing? Or is it dying? Well, communication is the transfer of words, energy, and feelings and information from one person to another person. So, I'm going to give you four ways that people communicate. The first one is nonverbal. Now, this is the one that I say that can get us in trouble, and that is body language. Body language. Our body language either says to our spouse that we are attentive, we are paying attention to them, or it says that we are disengaged. We're not interested, we're not listening, we don't care. Really, when we're not paying attention and listening, it kind of says we don't care, doesn't it? Or sometimes we're distracted, let's be real. But body language tells it all. Somebody's body is kind of slumped over. I've been teaching a challenge on confidence, and when we don't have any confidence, our shoulders are kind of rounded, or if we're tired, or we're sad, or we're frustrated, or we're feeling like an outcast in a group, we kind of slump over. I want you to think about the nonverbal emotions that are put off, like a smile, or tears, or a scowl. Non-verbal emotion is seen all the time. And out of the different personality styles, there's some styles that really show that nonverbal emotion all the time. They might be the people who talk a lot, but they show that nonverbal emotion because their face shows everything. Talk about a look. Yeah, their face shows everything. The body language of, hey, I'm so glad to see you, or ignore. I don't care if you come in or not, right? Body language. Your unsaid behavior unveils if you want to be there with that person, if you care about that person, it unveils what you are thinking. The second one is verbal communication. Now, this is the one we think about all the time, but have you thought about the fact that we all communicate differently? Some people are really loud, and some people are so soft you can barely hear them. You have to say, now, what was that? Can you repeat that? Because they're so soft and tender, you can hardly hear them. So I want you to think about yourself and I want you to think about your spouse. And are you both a little loud? Or are you just pretty normal? Or are you both soft? Those kind of things make a difference because somebody who's very loud can be obnoxious. Doesn't say they are, but they can be obnoxious. And if somebody who's really loud is married to somebody who's really soft, that tells a lot about their personality styles. And it can tell about the challenges and the troubles that they're having that they are not even talking about. They're not communicating about it because that soft spoken person is not going to tell you that there's a problem. And this is what I teach in communication secrets for marriage because we're so busy with ourselves that we're not paying attention to the other person. We're so busy with our kids and our work and our activities, we're not paying attention to the other person. Another thing in verbal speech is some are very fast and some are very slow in their processing. That means when they're making a decision, they're a little slow in their processing. They're going to take a little time as they think about what they're going to be saying. And then the other side of that coin is that fast thinking, fast moving person. They're always on it and they're on move, 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 go, go, go. There again, if you're married to your opposite and you're super fast in speaking and talking, then you're going to have a little trouble having the patience to listen to your spouse if they're very methodical and slow spoken. Another thing that's really verbal and causes a lot of trouble is some people are very direct. They tell you exactly what they're thinking. You're like, "Do I look good in these jeans?" And they're going to tell you, "Yeah, you do." Or they're going to be like, "Well, no, not really." Well, direct. And that kind of hurts the other person's feelings. And that's not the only thing they're direct in. They're direct in everything. But how about that indirect person? They're not going to tell you what they're thinking. There again, they're not going to tell you what they're thinking. And if there's a problem, they're not going to tell you. So, what are you supposed to do about that? That's where understanding the communication styles comes in. It helps people learn to listen, learn to talk, learn to pay attention where they need to, because some people are much more verbal and just tell it all. They just tell it all, and then others don't. It is the direct person. You're always going to know their needs, their wants, what's going on. But the indirect person is just not going to tell you. The third thing is visual. Now, this kind of goes back to the nonverbal or the body language. But the visual, you can tell when somebody is welcoming, acknowledging, and you can tell if they're repelling. Like, get away from me. They don't have to say any words, do they? They can just kind of hold up their hands or they can scoot away and they're thinking, move away from me. Kind of goes back to the look, but that is visual and the things that we see. The fourth thing is listening. Yes, this is a big part of communication because if you are listening to someone, it shows them you like them, you're interested in them, they're important to you and you're willing to listen. Now, this goes for your spouse, it goes for your friends, it goes for your kids, right? Learning to be a listener. Some people, it's easy, it's automatic, they're just a natural listener. And for others, myself included, we have to work on it a little bit. We have to pay attention that we're giving the other person their side of the conversation. And when we're listening, we're showing them that we are interested, we are respectful, and we are patient. And just overall, we care about them. So listening is important. So, how can we do better? We know what we do not know. We don't know what we don't know. That's what I mean to say. We don't know what we don't know until one day suddenly we know it. It's kind of like your eyes being open, you're awakened. You didn't realize you can't fix anything if you don't realize that there is a problem. So, how can we do better? Number one, we can monitor our attitude. I know about you, but whenever I have a bad attitude or I get up on the wrong side of the bed or I feel grumpy for the day, I'm going to spread that everywhere. I don't mean to, but it's just what you get. If I have a great attitude, I spread sunshine. If I don't have a great attitude, I might spread a little doom. Don't mean to. But your attitude is about how you think, how you act, and how you respond. And that's an important part of communication. Paying attention to we think different, we act different, we respond different. And you're just not going to be the same. You think your spouse should think, act, and respond the same as you do, but they're not going to. So we want to learn to have a good attitude, to be open minded, and accept the differences between us. The second one is consider how you each show love. We all show love differently. We need it in a different manner. And sometimes it is as simple as understanding exactly what our spouse needs from us. And if you talk about that, you communicate about that, then you understand what that is for your spouse. For some, it is, hey, help me out, whether it's helping me out at home or whether it's helping out your spouse as they get their stuff ready to go out the door. It's service. Help me out. Help me out with the kids. Help me out with the dishes. Of course, I'm speaking from the women's side, of course, right? But, there's a lot of things, for men, let's work on this together. And maybe my husband and I were just painting upstairs, and a lot of women, just the man paints, like the man takes care of the household things. And there are some households where the women like to paint, but my husband and I do it together because it's something I can do. And so we do it together. Another thing in showing love is gifts. Some people just like a little gift. It might be flowers, it might be a milkshake, it might be something nicer, but they like receiving gifts. And when you give them gifts, they feel loved. Some people need that verbal lifting, appreciation to be um, praise, basically, right? They need that praise. Hey, thank you for this. You're doing a great job. Boy, I appreciate you for that. And some need that time together, and nothing replaces that. They just need that time to sit together, to talk, spend time, at dinner. And we get so busy, and life is in such a fast pace these days that sometimes we forget the simple things in life that grow communication and grow our marriage, like spending time together. I think that goes back to the tree. We're either growing or we're dying. We're growing and becoming closer together, or we're, you know, going farther apart. And then one more on showing your love is touch. You know, think about a little kid, how they like to sit in your lap. And it's just that mom's touch that makes a difference. Well, adults are the same. And if your love language is touch, it is holding hands, being close together, and that kind of thing that makes you feel loved. The third thing is understanding why there's a disconnect. Understanding why there's a disconnect. And it's a process of understanding yourself and your habits and your ways, how you think, how you act, how you respond, and understanding the same things for your spouse. It's understanding how your differences are affecting your relationship. So, what if you could uncover your unique communication styles and strengths and start enjoying each other again? You start to get past those things that are irritating you, past those things that are separating you and keeping you apart. Every day, I'm creating podcasts, I'm posting videos, I'm writing emails in order to spread the word about communication secrets for marriage. It's something I started about 4 years ago, and it comes from my passion of helping people keep their family together, keep their marriage together, and not only that, but to live happily with each other, to accept each other, to get past the misunderstandings. It's a proven method using a personal assessment that identifies how we make decisions, what motivates us, what gets us excited, what upsets us, and basically, there again, how we each think, act, and respond as we do. And because I wholeheartedly believe understanding each other will help you alleviate so many differences. It will give you patience with each other. It'll help you support and enjoy each other. I believe you can have your own extraordinary marriage, even if you're having trouble right now. It's probably simple frustrations. Sometimes little things cause big trouble, but you have to be open to receive it, and it takes action to get what you want. So let me tell you a little bit about my communication secrets for marriage. So just hang in there. So then you'll know what it is. And it might be for you or it might not be for you, but it helps you gain valuable insights into your spouse and your own temperament, your preferences, habits, leading to more loving and understanding in your relationship. And with it, you get a personal John Maxwell uh, rediscover assessment. So it really tells you all about you, and it can be done by yourself or it can be done with a spouse. Even one person understanding these concepts makes a difference. You could save time and money by avoiding therapy, every week. You can create a thriving and fulfilling marriage by using customized communications that are just for you because now you understand how each other communicates. You can build a stronger, lasting marriage with the tools and techniques that you learn in the class. And there are 3 ways to connect with the Communication Secrets for Marriage class. Number 1, there's an on-demand class in my courses, The Extraordinary Marriage, that gives you the logistics and an assessment. Number 2, there's a live program online or in my community that you can several times a year that you can connect with, or learn the techniques in a private coaching class. Sometimes we have a lot of challenges and we need a person to talk to. We really need to talk it through, work it through, learn the communication styles over a longer period of time instead of very quickly. Well, I hope that you've learned something from this. I know that people who've been with me in the extraordinary marriage for a long time, hear a little bit about the communication secrets for marriage from time to time, but I want to make sure people understand what they are. I want to make sure you understand what they are. They are something that will help you learn to connect with your spouse, get past those frustrations, and to accept one another for what you're great at, accept one another for what you're not great at, and step into a better marriage. How about an extraordinary marriage? I'm Connie Durham, your host, and I'll see you next week.